All right, all right, all right. I'm getting things set up. Um oh wait, let me turn that off. Stop that. Um, all right. Oh, why is this still echoing? Uh-uh. Okay, hold on. Let me get my life together. Okay. All right. Oh, that's because I have the sound on Instagram. Okay. All right, y'all. We are gonna do this. We are gonna talk about Sean Combs. Um, Now, if you have been following me, you know that I asked people, professional folks, because they tend to do this, right? When something salacious happens, they run and they ask us to comment. Yes, the way you were the first person I thought when this news broke, I feel like I have to kind of I haven't exactly been silent, but I feel like I have to kind of break my silence. Let me just put in the Instagram that I am on YouTube, so it's a lot easier sometimes to watch it over there. So I'm just gonna put that in the chat. And come in, come in, come in, come in, come in. Everybody come in. See some folks slowly trickling into YouTube. All right. Where do I start? I actually decided to do this because, I just learned the news about the video. Yeah, actually, let me create a banner because I want to make sure that it is very clear that I am speaking about all of these things that are alleged, and I don't want anybody thinking that I am, liable for anything or what have you. So I'm putting allegedly. I don't even know if that's how you spell the word, but you know what it is. You're who I want to hear from because you always had this energy. You goddamn right. So that's what we're going to reiterate today. All right. So if you are on Instagram, you'd like to come join us over on YouTube. I appreciate that. All right. Where do I begin? I begin in 1997 um, when I was about to graduate high school and the Notorious B.I.G. was killed. And my mother called me at school because I was at boarding school, and she didn't know if I had heard the news. And I screamed, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "But Tupac just died," and she was like, my mom was crying. It was a thing. And then I said, "Well, is Puffy at the time we called him Puffy?" I was like, "Is Puffy okay?" She was like, "No, he's fine." And I remember as a teenager thinking, "Oh, he killed him." That's what I thought. I I'm not a person of the law. I'm not a law enforcement person. That's what I thought, right? A little too convenient, my teenage mind. And I began hating Sean Combs right then. So if we would like to do some math, okay, 2024 minus 1997, we're at almost 30 years that I've hated this man. um, Possibly irrational, possibly prescient, but I knew something was off with him. Now I'm from New York. Okay, I was born in 1979. I grew up as hip hop was exploding and taking over the world. I was there for New Jack Swing. In fact, my dad dated a woman that was related to Teddy Riley, and it was like a big thing where they were like this thing emerged and it was changing everything. And then we hear about Uptown Records, and Uptown Records comes out, and we've got the lead person is Father MC. Now, I don't know if people in New York remember there was whispers about Father MC being a piece of shit too, but I'm not, allegedly. Allegedly. Um, there was definitely talks about Aaron Hall. Okay. And it's interesting because I met Aaron Hall like it was either last year, I think it was last year, and I just completely blanked on the fact that he was a piece of shit. Like, I don't know why. I just kind of blanked on it. And then his brother invited me to come back with him to the hotel. So they never change, y'all. They never change. So anyway, Uptown Records is coming. You're getting Jodeci, you're getting Mary J. Blige, you're getting all these people. And yeah, you heard that in Alabama. Somebody said they heard it in Philly too. Yeah. You know, it was what it was. And we're watching and experiencing an entirely new genre of music being formed, right? First, you got the New Jack Swing, that's new, but then we're getting hip hop soul. And to lead off with Mary J. Blige. And Mary J. Blige comes out with this, you know, this album that is unlike anything that we've heard so far in music. And there's this skinny nigga dancing around her, right? Jodeci is coming out. Oh, somebody said, I wonder how Mary will be implicated. We're going to get to that in like 2 minutes, maybe 3. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's obviously an image being created. And I don't know how much I know about Jodeci. But Casey and JoJo are gospel singers. They're related to Fantasia. It's a whole family. They're all Southern gospel singers, right? So how did they become these bad boys? Especially when you had the fucking Broad Street Bullies, also known as Boys to Men, their image got cleaned up into the prep thing. So Diddy was obviously going for something. Him and Andre Harrell, they were going for some kind of image, some kind of bad thing. There was a lot of leather involved. Does anybody remember all the fucking leather? You know who does leather? Us Kinksters, okay? Why you got these gospel singing niggas in leather in the desert, okay? I'm telling y'all the signs were there. So there's this bad boy. You name your label bad boy, right? Everybody knows that Puffy got his name because he has a really horrible temper, that he has like anger management issues. He would always blow up at people. That's why they called him Puffy, right? So we're getting this image. Deviance, bad, possibly criminal, right? Devontae always got that wild ass look in his eye, and we know Dalvin don't do nothing but look pretty. What was Diddy trying to create? Then you got Mary. Mary comes out. We all know that Mary is hitting that pipe. Like, she's been open about this, right? Mary had a very serious drug problem. I think it was powder, though. I think she was on, she had allegedly. But Mary has talked about her substance abuse issues. Mary has also talked about being in abusive relationships. Her and KC were in a toxic relationship, okay? I'm just giving y'all some backstory because this is all building up to this moment where we get this man, Craig Mack, who is supposed to like take Bad Boy to the top. Okay? Shout out. You got people on YouTube in the chat. Hit that like button on your way in, please. If you are on Instagram and want to come join us over on YouTube, we've got the chat is starting to fill up. So please come over. Okay, great. Craig Mack comes and he's got this song, Flavor in Your Ear, right? Flavor in Your Ear hits the radio and that shit is crazy. That damn remix comes out with LL and Busta and Biggie's on it. And they had the whole, anybody from New York remember how it was supposed to be the Big Mac? Like it was supposed to be Big and Mac and Big, right? And they packaged it up and made it look like, little Big Mac things. And they tried to do the McDonald's kind of labeling. Like, Diddy was not stupid. He went to school for this. He dropped out, but he went to school for this, right? And then, out of nowhere, Craig Mack is gone. So what the hell happened to Craig Mack? Pat. Yes, that remix went hard. It's like, it not went. Put it on today. She, blotitious. Skeevy, delicious. If I say that, you know what I'm talking about, okay? Don't be mad. UPS is hiring. That's right. Okay. That song was it. And game changed. Then we get Juicy, right? Because we're using, this track that our elders love. And then Biggie is this out of nowhere. Now I've met him when you back at this time when he was younger and stuff like that. And I'm gonna tell you, like many other people have told you, don't believe the hype on that man. That was a good boy. He did a little stupid stuff or whatever, but generally he was a good boy. Then he got with Diddy, and again, wow, it's just all kind of like hitting me right now. Okay, so I'm growing up at this time. Some of you all were there. Okay, you were in New York. You were there. You were conscious of that time. So something is off though. A lot of talk about drug use. A lot of the people there are using a lot of drugs. Then we're hearing talk about women being abused. We know Kim's story. We done heard it, several times. She was underage. We heard Faith's story, heard that a number of times. We're starting to hear things that ain't right. Something is going on over there. But bad boy, right? Then he ushers in the shiny suit era, and people are starting to criticize him, right? Oh, I appreciate you. That's love. That's love. I appreciate you. De La Soul drops Stakes is High. And this is the first time, like in a mainstream song, that somebody is calling out this shit that Diddy is doing, because people in the industry are recognizing that this is an issue. Does anybody remember the Source Awards, right? When Suge Knight got on stage and was like, if you want somebody dancing all in your videos, if you don't want somebody dancing all in your videos, all of that, y'all, this was a thing. Some of you were too young, you weren't around. Some of you were around, okay? This was a thing. And you could tell that stuff was happening, and you could tell that it was going to lead to violence, okay? And it did. It did. We lost Tupac, and a few months later, we lost Biggie. I'm going to mouth this so they can't say that I said. Okay, cool. You got me? You got me. Cool. Diddy always wanted to be the star. Please understand this. For those of you who weren't around, Diddy always wanted to be the star. Diddy wanted to be the one who had the light. Okay. Anybody know what Diddy's sign is? Let's see. Sean Combs, astrological sign. What is he? He's born November. Oh, are y'all telling me he's a Scorpio? Sean Combs is a goddamn Scorpio? Oh. He did that shit. Guilty as fuck. All of it. That Scorpio bastard. Okay, I'm back. Okay. People don't like what he's doing. They could tell it's not about the art. It's not about hip hop, the culture. It's about him, right? And there's already rumors swarming, like they're swirling around. So one of the rumors, the earliest rumors about Sean Diddy Combs is that he is a man who has sex with men. There's absolutely nothing wrong with men who have sex with men. However, he was secretive about it, right? So-called down low. Somebody said they thought he was a Leo. Is he a Scorpio? No, his birthday is November 4th, 1969. That's a Scorpio. That's a goddamn Scorpio. Every day of the week. So what's that song that he released immediately after Biggie died? That Sting makes all the money from? Yeah. I'll Be Missing You. That launched his career. Okay. Diddy stepped right into that damn spotlight like it was nothing. Like it was actually created for him. Okay. because he created it for himself. Allegedly. Allegedly. Okay. Made a whole production of the video. Video ain't had nothing to do with nothing. Why was Diddy on a bike and falling on the ground looking stupid? Like, why was that a thing? He had 112 singing on it. He had Faith singing on it, right? It was this whole thing. And then Diddy drops an album. Anybody remember that album? No Way Out, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me in the chat. I believe it was No Way Out. That was the launch of his career. And it was set up so well, right? Tupac's gone. Biggie's gone. We don't know where Craig Mack is. Rumors are that Craig Mack, joined a wild cult. That's not a rumor. That's actually the truth. He joined a cult and allegedly lost his mind. Why? We don't know. However, in light of what we are learning about Sean Combs, it is possible that something happened with Craig Mack that drove him insane. Right? I'm just taking y'all on the timeline. Who emerged? Who else comes around this time? There was a dope battle rapper by the name of Murder Mace. Mason Betha. You know how we learned his name was Mason Betha? Because after he was with Diddy and them and left out of nowhere, your man ran to the church. Your man found God. Okay? Craig Mack goes and joins a cult, a religious cult. Mason gets his own, I think he had his own church or he was preaching, right? He became a preacher, right? Then other artists are coming along. Now, I don't remember in the chronology when Kim got sent up, but she a trooper. She ain't wasn't no snitch. Sean is about to sing like a canary, just so y'all know. So Loon, I'll tell you about Loon. Loon, actually, his mother worked for me. I actually helped her mother write a letter to President Obama to get him released from jail. That's my connection to that. Your girl been around. Listen, I've been doing things. Y'all ain't got to listen to me. Y'all don't have to think I'm nobody. But I know things and I do things. His mother, shout out to her, love her. She loves her son so much. So he ended up in jail. G-Dep, Black Rob, these are all people who were releasing these hardcore bangers, right? That, Harlem Shake shit and Whoa and all of this stuff. Good. I have a whole playlist on Spotify. If you look up my username, Purple Piece 79, look up my Diddy Delinquents playlist. It's a whole list of all the people whose careers, Sean Combs has destroyed. And there's a story behind each of them, right? Okay. Oh, thank you. I feel like people may get bored, but I got to bring y'all to where we are. I have to, because I need you all to understand my connection to this, right? So while I started hating Diddy in 97, I was kind of like, I would be on the Twitters and stuff. And if you recall, if anybody recalls, peak Black Twitter, 2009 to 2013, who was Diddy's biggest hater? I'll wait. Diddy ain't have a bigger hater than me. Okay. Also, my mother worked with J-Lo's dad. And when she was dating Diddy, and there was some stuff going on over there too. I just want to put that scene. BX all day, stand up. All of these artists have two things in common. One, they had the misfortune of signing a horrible deal. Oh, the Locks. Not even going to forget the Locks. The Locks. All you have to do is Google the Locks and Diddy, and you will hear them talking about him a lot. Okay, there's a lot of interviews, a lot of videos. They talked a lot about their shitty deal. All these people were signing these really horrible deals where Diddy was keeping the majority of the money, and he was looking at people that were really hungry and trying to get on, and he's exploiting them. So from day one, from Uptown into Bad Boy, Diddy is signing deals with these artists where they're getting pennies, okay? And they're being forced to perform. Like if you remember early Uptown, we have Father MC. Go check out Father MC's I'll do for you, I'll do who's in the background singing. It's Mary. I think Jodeci's in that. Like Uptown, everybody was doing everything on everybody's day. They were trying to do it like Motown, right? I just please understand that with Uptown Records, they were trying to recreate Motown in the East Coast, right? So they had that. Everybody was doing everybody's things, background vocals, everybody's performing on everybody's thing, trying to create this family. That's why when Bad Boy comes out, it's Bad Boy Family. They're trying to like replicate this model, right? Berry Gordy was a piece of shit too. So it makes sense that that's what they would be drawn to, right? All right. So these artists are coming and going and making hits. Boom, they're on the charts, videos, everything. They're shaping the culture. They're getting us to dance more. We miss dancing. We loved Kid and Play. We love Fresh Prince and you know, Jazzy Jeff. They're bringing the dancing back. They're bringing the joy back because gangster rap had come in and really cast a wet blanket on things. And the East Coast was like, Diddy and the East Coast was like, we're gonna bring it back. Not everybody was a fan, but whatever. Diddy gets a reputation of being a man who has sex with men, but also being a bit of a tyrant, being an exploitative producer, being a bit maniacal, and then you know, stuff starts coming out about him possibly being abusive, right? So his first child's mother, Misa Hilton, very famous stylist, really helped shape the hip hop style in the early days. Still does her thing to this day. She was kind of young when they got together. Now she's saying that the rumors about her being underage when they got together are false. She's saying that the internet had her age wrong and stuff like that. So I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna give that sister that autonomy, right? But she was still young. And she has a child with him. And she recently put out like a statement that I thought was kind of shying away from things. But then we got to remember all these people got NDAs. So she's kind of suggesting, you know, kind of hinting at stuff. Let me actually see what she said. Let's see. Lisa Hilton, Sean Combs. Let's see if we can get a statement here. Yes, okay. So she said, I'm heartbroken that Cassie must relive the horror of her abuse, and my heart goes out to her. I know exactly how she feels, and through my empathy, it has triggered my own trauma. Okay, y'all. Misa told us, let me close that window out. Misa told us right there, that was a confession, was it not? Something that she, not a confession like she did something wrong, but she was sharing that she had her own trauma and she could relate to it and have empathy. Allegedly, I'm going to say, keep saying allegedly, but it sounds like she's telling everybody he used to beat my ass too. You feel me? And again, she's young. She has a baby. I think she was like 19 or 20 when she had him. This man is on the rise. She's trying to get her footing in the industry. He's on the rise. Y'all remember the Big Papa video or the One More Chance video? It was the One More Chance video, I think it was. And she's in there with him and in the hot tub and everything. Like, y'all remember all this. Y'all was there. So Misa was getting beat down. Again, there was rumors of that. The next major person that we know of, was it J-Lo? Did J-Lo come before Kim Porter? Let's see. Anybody know in the chats? I think J-Lo came first, right? Let's see. I look at Diddy's past girlfriends. All right. So let's see. Yeah, Misa was first. We were dating at the time. He had just went from intern to AR. She told BET he had a new position. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So they've got, okay, so Justin was born December 30th, 1993. And then, oh yes, remember back in June of 2023, she was airing grievances about him, right? So okay, people saying Kim was first. Okay, cool. So, because then didn't he go back? Yes, because he was with Kim and then cheated on Kim with J-Lo, I believe that's what happened. Yeah, so Kim and him got together. They started dating in the 90s. They had Christian in 98. Yep. And then um and then the J-Lo thing, and then he goes back with her. So there's like he's kind of seeing both of them, I believe, at one point. And then that one young woman's her lawsuit kind of suggested that they had broken up. She was dealing with him, but also he was dealing with J-Lo. It was weird. There was a whole lot of stuff go. He started getting this reputation of being kind of like a Casanova type. He's just a player, he's whatever. I think he likes that, right? It kind of fits that bad boy edge or whatever. But as we are learning from these lawsuits, there's a consistency there. There's an MO that's taking shape, right? And the MO is that he has certain access and influence. He is connecting with these young women that want to be in the industry. Remember, Kim is a model, Misa's a stylist, these other people, they want to sing, they want to do all these things. He's involving drug use, right? And forcing people to use drugs, right? Against their will. We now know that he has guns in his, home. They recovered AR-15 and things like that. He had weapons. So we don't know how often, a gun was put to the head, or it was kind of put on the table to remind people, like, to intimidate them, right? So he's forcing people to do this. And this is where we get to Mary J. Blige. Okay. I actually wasn't ready for this. And I checked out a few different resources about this. I think I shared one on Threads. So apparently there is a video. So when they arrested Diddy, they confiscated all these videos, a lot of videos and footage and things like this. This particular video, however, is on VHS. And this particular video was actually in possession of someone else. And it is not unlike the R. Kelly video, right? Where people have seen it. And I believe it's going to hit the media probably this week or next, right? It's going to get to the media. It's being apparently shopped around. They said, make it make sense. I don't know if y'all watch him. They said that it's going to the feds. His source said that, it's going to the feds. His source said that he saw it. He or she, they saw it. And Mary J. Blige, one of the early Uptown records, and people, she was not on Bad Boy. Some people think that Mary was on Bad Boy. She was not. But she worked with Diddy. She and Diddy really, and his team, his production team, they created hip hop soul, right? So they were like this. But when they did this, Mary was coked out. No disrespect. I love Mary, all my heart and soul. But she was not in her right mind. Mary talks about this in her music. She has talked about it in interviews. She was not in her best mental health. She was not in her best physical health. There was a lot going on. It's rather easy to exploit someone like that. So on this video, Mary is heard saying, there's another victim there, a survivor, victim, however you want to consider it. Mary says, I guess this is my rites of passage, or something like that. So, of course, my mind goes to, what is she doing? It's something sexual. Is she performing a sex act on a victim, or whatever the situation is? I don't know if the victim is a woman or man, or, what have you. But Mary says in the video, I guess this is my rites of passage, which suggests that there's an understanding that there are requirements that Sean Combs has of people, expectations that he has of people, sexually exploitative expectations that he has of people. And she's just, it's her turn. Now, apparently this is, many years ago, so she's a lot younger. But Mary also made a statement, and I'm paraphrasing here, please don't, hold me to this, but she made a statement about how she's been holding in secrets for many years, but that she can't say them, and that she's proud of the survivors and she sends them all the love and support, but she's carrying secrets that she just can't reveal. To me, that sounds like NDA. And the way Kendu got her money messed up, I can't imagine that she's financially able to break an NDA. Also because of how it may implicate her, I don't know. Well, then what you done heard? Oh God, no. Oh God. So this is heartbreaking to me for a number of reasons. Again, I love Mary J. Blige. I'm telling you, Mary J. Blige has literally saved my life. Like her music has saved my life. There is an emotion I could feel where I can't find a damn Mary J. Blige song for. Like she is that girl for me. For many of us that were born in the late 70s, early 80s, us Black girls in the hood. She represented what we were, was like this hybrid generation. Like we had our parents like soul, but we also had our own new thing, hip hop. And she really was that for us. So to know or to hear allegedly that she may have also been a victim, but also a perpetrator at the same time is really difficult to wrap my mind around. Because there's such a part of me that's like, oh my God, Mary, what happened to you? Right? 'Cause that's the social worker in me. We always ask, what happened to you? But then it's like, Mary, what did you do? Right? Sean Combs has a history of putting people in positions where they are basically ensnared in whatever web he has woven, right? Many of the people describe like, I wasn't allowed to. If you read Dawn's thing, if you read the other young white woman, I don't recall her name, or if she was a Jane Doe. If you read these, accusations, if you read Cassie's story, if you read all these things, people are saying, I couldn't do this. He wouldn't let me. People were coming at Cassie like, well, why didn't you leave? That girl tried to leave this man several times. And you all finally saw the video of what happened just one time she tried to leave him. He beat her, he kicked her, and he dragged her back. That I will never forget the image of Cassie holding her shoes in her hands so she wouldn't make any sound and just waiting for the elevator to come so she could get the hell out of there. That is just, so it's a pattern. And very much like R. Kelly, he did this in plain sight, right? He called himself Puffy, the same way R. Kelly called himself the Pied Piper. Because remember, what did the Pied Piper do? The Pied Piper played music to lure children in. He called himself the Pied Piper of R&B, and we let him. I didn't let him. I hated that motherfucker ever since I saw that video of him pissing on a 14-year-old's face. Okay? But folks let him. So he turned that anger and that domination and that controlling shit, right, into a persona. Didn't his father hang out with Frank Lucas? He grew up a damn thug, right? Y'all see his mama? Janice don't know how to act. That woman there is a mess. Janice Combs is always like, every time you see her, you like, you ratchet ass bitch. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, she don't know how to act. So who knows what was happening between mother and son, or how she treated him, or what? Nobody knows. But now we have a situation where your OG Twitter friend, Feminista Jones, was shitting on Diddy. I was hating on him because I hated him. Any chance I got, every time he tweeted, you could count on me to respond with some hate. Hate. And y'all told me to stop. Y'all said I gotta calm down. Y'all said I wasn't right. Y'all said, Relax, right? Right, Pat? If you still watching, you told me you said you would be like beloved. Yeah, no, I was on his neck consistently. I made a commitment. You ain't gonna be able to talk in public and get away with it. Every time you breathe, if I happen to be around, I'm gonna try to snuff it out. That's what I did. And y'all told me to chill. Y'all were like, oh, why you hate him so much? He's evil. I can't prove nothing, but I know that he's evil. I know that his spirit is evil. There's just something coming at him now. I was a very, very, very good social worker, therapist, counselor, whatever, because of these empathic abilities that I have. I can read people. I can sense people. Anybody who knows me knows that I can do it. I can do it. I feel it. Ever since I was a child, my family thought something was wrong with me. I just knew that he was evil, talking evil. And we watched him try to reinvent himself. And that's another sign that something was up. He was constantly trying to reinvent himself. Puffy, well, he was Puff Daddy, Puffy, P. Diddy, Diddy. Now, P. Diddy came from Puff Daddy. Why are you calling yourself Daddy? Now, hey, my Kingsters, now is not the time. Okay. Now, I don't need you to be like, oh, something, we called it. Now, shut up. That's not what I'm talking about. Because it could very well be that, right? Again, you got these motherfucking church niggas wearing leather in the desert. Okay? That's sadism. Okay? Who does that to people unless they want to see it? Right? You know who else orchestrates and directs the scenes that they want to see for their own pleasure? It begins with a T, ends with an airy. Yeah. It's all the same shit. Y'all wonder why I stay on his neck. I can't stand it. Diddy is a sadist. And I know this because game recognized game. If you know, you know. Diddy is a sadist, not in the safe, sane, and consensual way, though. He actually enjoys punishing people, hurting people, harming them physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially. Sean Combs enjoys hurting people. And you know what that is? Some might call him a sociopath. I'm not, because, allegedly, what do I know? I've never done any of this work before. I'm not going to try to diagnose anybody. What do I know? I'm just a blogger or whatever, right? Right. Somebody said, remember when he dressed up as the Joker? That was the real him. Sure was. Sure was. Also this, he enjoys it not being consensual. That is Bill Cosby, right? Bill Cosby, like one of the most wealthy, well-known people in the world, was raping women, allegedly, for like 5 decades, right? And I remember one of the women in Bill Cosby's situation, they were interviewing her, and then she said she had spent a lot of time around him and some other folks, and he was insecure about his looks, right? Bill Cosby, to me, is not very attractive. And that he had insecurities about his looks. And the women weren't as interested in him. So that might be part of why he went super monster and was drugging people, because he, only got that. But, I've told you all already, Bill Cosby wrote a show in which he got to be an obstetrician, right? He got to be someone who plays with women's vaginas while they're under possible sedation, right? He wrote that in plain sight. This is what these predators do. They do shit so openly. They delight in it. Every time, I bet, Bill Cosby filled a scene where in his home office where a pregnant woman was coming and he had to examine her, I bet he got off on the fact that he was doing this shit in plain sight. Okay? Yes. Thank you. You guys are giving me all the segues. I love it. Let's get to making the man. This is where others started to hate him like I did. What did you say? You said there were rumors from hospitality workers since I was a teen in the Caribbean, 2002 to 2004, that he was forcing women to take drugs and engage in acts unwillingly. To see it in the lawsuits confirmed. Yep, I mean, same thing with R. Kelly. Ask anybody from Chicago who was around at that time. They were like, yeah, he was at the schools all the time. Everybody knew this. It was like a Chicago secret, a not so secret secret. Everybody knew that R. Kelly was a child predator. Okay? They knew. But you don't listen to Black girls and women, so whatever. So let's get to making the band. MTV gave Sean Combs an international stage to do his sadistic dom scenes for everyone to watch and for him to get paid to do it. And I'm smiling because this shit is, I don't know what else to do. He was so out of pocket on that show. And it wasn't just when he forced them to walk to Junior's in Brooklyn to get the cheesecake, right? Anybody who was in the 2003 blackout remembers what that walk is like. Okay. I walked from Lower Manhattan up like damn near to the Bronx. No, I was going to Jersey, but I was like going up in Upper Manhattan. We all know you can walk it, you could do it, but it was beyond that. You see how he was talking to them. He was degrading them. He was demanding that they prove to him that they were good enough, but not in a typical kind of way like they do on The Voice or American Idol. He was demanding almost like a soul promise to them, like fealty. You know, I'm surprised that he didn't have them get on their knees and bow to him, because that's how he was talking to them and engaging him. And there were all these people there watching, enabling it, recording it, marketing it, selling it. I know that motherfucker's dick was hard the entire time. I know he got off on the whole thing. Devious Scorpio that he is. His little stinger was just everywhere. Just boom, 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 boom. And he was getting off on it all the time. When he made them walk there, and we all watched it, you know how many people laughed and thought that shit was funny? We have to think about our complicity in this. And this is the conflict that I've had for many, 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 many years. And this is why you don't see me writing about hip hop anymore. I was like, nope, not going to do it anymore, actually. I did not become a hip hop scholar. I do not write a hip hop column. I don't do any of that anymore because I have divested. But it took a while, you know, as a Black woman, as a Black feminist woman, to get to this point where I was like, oh, hip hop is not feminist. Hip hop is one of the most harmful things to ever happen to Black women, ever. And a lot of people don't want to accept that, right? But it's a culture that thrives on the debasement of Black women, right? So Sean is a leader in this culture. He is the guy. He's like the go-to guy, right? Like I'm trying to think of people who were bigger than Sean Combs in hip hop. The closest I can think of, Suge Knight, maybe. Dr. Dre, maybe. Dr. Dre, a lot of his influences outside of hip hop. Diddy is pretty much locked into hip hop. He is that person. And so what we see is a history of this man demanding absolute loyalty from people, making people prove loyalty to him. He needs it. There's something in him that is obviously missing. Again, I'm going to go back to Janice Combs. You see how crazy that woman is. Something in him, where's Dr. Hall? Why is he not here? Because Dr. Hall could break this down for me. This is like it's classic abandonment issues, right? Classic male abandonment issues. Gen X, we are the first single mother generation. We are the first latchkey kid generation. A lot of us have abandonment issues, right? So what you see is somebody who has been abandoned or dealing with that. It's unreconciled. And he is making sure that he is forcing people to stay with him, right? And that's generally what happens with most abusers, especially like ones that don't want you working and want you to be financially dependent on them, want you to be a lot smaller than them, like physically, want to strap you down with children and all this stuff like that. Make it so that you can't leave. If you try to leave, I'm gonna put my fist through your face. So you need to stay because I can't have anybody leave me. And as a person who has dealt with that, I will tell you it is hard to leave someone like that once you recognize that you're dealing with a child, right? A very wounded and hurt child. Sean Combs, instead of getting healing and treatment and help, Sean Combs got rich. And by getting rich, he got to have access to a kind of power that most Black men in history of the United States have never come close to because they don't let us, right? Sean got so much money by exploiting these artists and stealing all their money. But also, we're now learning there's possibly some illegal dealings outside of this. We are also now learning that he has been possibly allegedly running a sex trafficking ring, not just for his own pleasure and gratification, but that he's possibly was profiting off of this, right? He's got illegal guns. What's he doing with these guns? I saw on Thread somebody say, yeah, I think he shot that club up. No, he did. His victim said he shot me in the face. Okay. She made a whole video. She's like, it was Sean Combs, unequivocally, without a doubt, who shot me in my face. And who did he make take the fall for it? Shine. The rapper Shine, who is now a conservative politician in Belize. Okay. Because his dad was like the prime minister or whatever. Again, this is the weirdest shit ever. Shine took the fall for that. How many people have taken the fall for him? How many people have fallen because of him? That is his MO. That is what he does. That's how he controls people. That is how he moves. Absolutely, he's going to be a man in his 30s and get a girlfriend that is like 19. That's what they do. In fact, I'm convinced people like him and Leo DiCaprio prefer women who weren't alive long enough to remember all the stories about who they are or who they have been, right? If you get a 19-year-old or 21-year-old, well, she wasn't alive to know the rumors that we heard about you in the 90s. You feel me? Who is he dealing with now? What that girl named Carisha? How old is she? How old is Carisha? She's 30. Okay, that's a little old for him. He's 54. So he's still 24 years older than her. That's okay. Y'all know how I feel about those big age gaps. You know how I feel. It's predatory every time. There's no justification at all that anybody's ever going to get me. I don't care. Oh, they're adults. No, shut up. Nope. It's absolutely no reason for a 54-year-old man to be with a woman in her 20s or 30 years. Nope. 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 All it's doing is giving controlling. It's giving predatory. What the fuck are y'all talking about? What do you have in common? Unless you're stunted like R. Kelly is, right? Excuse me. R. Kelly was stunted because he had extreme sexual childhood abuse. And R. Kelly got trapped somewhere around 14, 15 years old. And now I don't say that to make any excuses for R. Kelly. I do not. Please, 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 please understand that. Okay? I say it to understand what we're talking about here. People like these monsters are not made in vacuums. These monsters are made because of circumstances, because of environments, because of all these other things that factor into their self-development, into their, psychological development, but also their social development, right? When the Cassie allegations dropped, like when she did that, the lawsuit and stuff came out, believed 100%, 100%. There was no like, there was nothing that she said in there that I was like, oh, I don't know. Not believed it all, because we had been hearing these stories about him for years, right? We also knew that nobody was going to do anything about it, because what happens when somebody tries to do something? The fucking perpetrator flees the country and takes up residence in a non-extradition country like Bali. That would be Russell Simmons, who is allegedly a serial rapist. I have to say that, but you all know that I know that he's allegedly a serial rapist. I know because I trust Drew Dixon. I should text her right now and see how she's doing. Every time stuff like this comes out, I send Drew a text just to let her know I'm thinking about her and, sending her love. Drew Dixon told us about Russell Simmons. She told us about L.A. Reid, right? She told us about AJ Calloway. Soleil Abrams told us about Russell Simmons. These women, being the lighter skinned or biracial women at the time when that aesthetic was celebrated and praised, right? These women were preyed on by these monsters who were collecting them like trophies. But these women wanted to work. Drew Dixon is one of the best ARs hip hop culture has ever had. And her whole career was gone because of these men. Right? Remember when she tried to sign John Legend and couldn't get John Legend signed because she wouldn't fuck him? Not John. Was it Russell? Was it LA? No, it was LA. Right. Like, come on, y'all. Let's think about what we're talking about here. We're talking about a goddamn fraternity of hip hop niggas who were all doing the same things, the same time in overlapping and shared spaces. Okay. You cannot tell me that there weren't all these people there who were fully aware of what was going on. Men, women, other, like older, younger, famous, not famous. So many people saw this. That's why we're getting all these lawsuits. It only takes one person. That's what Tarana Burke was doing with Me Too, recognizing the power of like solidarity. If one person can come forward and if somebody else comes and says, Me Too, there's strength in numbers. Remember with the Cosby situation, he was going to the court for the sister that was at Temple, right? I think she was like biracial or mixed or what have you. But these other women came forward not because they were seeking a payday, not because they were suing him for money. They came forward to say, I want to corroborate this MO. I do not know these women. I've never met these women before. This happened to me exactly like this. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 15, 25, 35, 47, 52, 60 women come forward and say, Bill Cosby did this to me too, in this fashion. And what that does is it creates, okay, yeah, this is his MO. This is what he's doing. That's what's happening with this like Diddy stuff. It's like all these people are coming forward, and I'm going to get to the RICO thing and give me 2 seconds. But all these people are coming forward. Some of them are just like, no, I can corroborate this. I don't need no money. You probably can't charge him with nothing, but I'm going to come and give my testimony. So I'm going to back this person up. And a lot of people seem to have a lot of love for Cassie. So I think when she came forward, people were like, oh no, he's going to back this up. She's not going to do this by herself. And that's love, right? That's love, right? Because it takes a lot. You got a man who is threatening people's lives. What was her name? Danielle Smith. I might have gotten that wrong. The one that was the editor in chief, was it Vibe or XXL? One of them. And she just put that story in the New York Times, which girl, you admitted to being an enabler. You admitted to being somebody who let him give passes. But I think her story is important because it shows just the kind of influence. He threatened to kill her. He was like, I'm going to put you in the back of this truck because I don't like this story that you wrote about me. Like, this is who he is, right? This is who he's been. And so her article, even though I didn't like it, becomes more data points to add to this. If you can still sit there and say that, yes, he blew up someone's car. He blew up, it was Wiz Khalifa, right? So Wiz Khalifa was cool with Cassie, and Diddy was allegedly jealous and blew up his car, allegedly. Now, Wiz Khalifa it was Wiz Khalifa, right? I don't want to say the wrong name. I don't keep up with these niggas. I really don't. They got funny names. I don't know who they are. But I know that this person came forward and was like, yeah, no, my car blew up. Kid Cudi? It was Kid Cudi. Okay, Kid Cudi. Thank you for correcting me. I don't want to be wrong, y'all. They all the same to me. Kid Cudi is doing the acting thing now, which is actually pretty cool. But I wonder why maybe that's why he pivoted. Oh God. Okay. So right now we have a RICO situation, right? RICO cases in the Southern District of New York. I think they got like a 95% success rate or something. It's important to know this, right? We're talking serious federal charges. You all have watched all the shows. You've watched Law and Order, you've watched The Wire, you've watched Power, you've watched all these shows where that are based on these people that they're trying to take down for RICO stuff, right? That's what they've been trying to get Jamie St. Clair on Power until he died. They were trying that. They're trying to get RICO. And what it is to show that there is this organized system that is facilitating these crimes, right? So they're looking at racketeering, gun charges, human trafficking, all these kinds of things, drugs, everything, right? They spend a very long time putting these cases together before they hit that go button. They spend a lot of time doing, because they're hard. It's hard to prove that someone is working within a network or leading a network of criminal activity. It's very difficult to prove. It's very, like somebody said, mobster. It's very mobster. For them to arrest him and indict him, they got it. And they know that they had to do it right. But he's done. He's done. Southern District of New York, I believe that's who it's not. It's the Southern, right? It's not the Eastern District. It's Southern District of New York, I believe, is taking him out. Ain't that Letitia James over there? He ain't got nowhere. Tell me, somebody, is it the Southern District? Please, somebody confirm that for me. Let me see. Oh gosh, let's see. Diddy. Oh gosh, because if so, oh man, yes, yes it is. Oh, that's Letitia James. That's the one that's handling Trump. That's a wrap. Okay, you are done, Diddy. Letitia James loves this shit. She loves taking these powerful men down. She really does. Really does. So anyway, for them to pull all of that together, to charge him, arrest him, and indict him, they've got a rock solid case. Remember when they raided his homes a few months ago? Gene Deal, if you don't know who Gene Deal is, Gene Deal used to be his like security guard or whatever. Gene Deal has been talking about Diddy from a very long time now. Cause he's just like, I say what the fuck I want. You ain't gonna do nothing to me. You know, Gene Deal has a lot of clout in the streets. Like he's a real street dude. Like he's got a lot of clout. And he's been sharing a lot of stuff that he has witnessed, he has observed, right? And he predicted that Diddy would be arrested and indicted in September, right? And that's, what happened. They raided them homes. Now, because Diddy is the predator that he is, very much like R. Kelly, his stupid ass keeps his videos on site. He's got VHSs, he's got DVDs. Not even smart. With all the money that you haven't digitized them all and put them on your. I'm not saying that you should because I think it's awful, but I'm just trying to, like, sometimes when that happens, I feel like the person wants to get caught. And in the case of Diddy, okay, I am so trying not to psychoanalyze him, but in the case of Diddy, there's a part of me that thinks that he wanted to get caught, right? Possibly to let his mother down. I know that sounds weird. And I told you I was going to start keeping a tinfoil hat on so I could just put it there, right? Yes. Oh, hey, Dr. Hall. Hubris. Yes. Yes. Right. Wants the physical trophy. Yes. He wants to watch these things. It's like VHS tapes. Y'all ain't never made a sex tape and watched yourself and then beat off to it? Am I alone in this? Okay. Well, I keep going back to Janice for a reason. Y'all have not paid attention to Janice Combs. I want y'all to start paying attention to Janice Combs. Janice Combs, let's get up. Let's see. Janice Combs. Okay, because my God, today. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna share this. We're gonna share the screen. We're gonna share the screen. We got to now. Oh gosh, Janice Combs. Let's look at this. Let's see. Y'all see this? Look at how ratchet this woman looks. What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? That ain't no normal mother-son relationship. It's not. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. Who is she? Who she thinks she is? I think that he's either trying to get her attention or he's trying to publicly humiliate her. Let's get back from all the things she did to him. I'm just saying. I could be wrong. I have a clinical psychologist in my chat. So I'm like, you tell me I'm wrong. But I just know Diddy, what's up? Sister Mecca, Ladybug Mecca on Instagram. I think it's humiliation. I think there is something to some people, particularly men, who have had a lot of extreme resentment towards their mothers, to grow up and to do really messed up things to let them down. Like blow up a school, shoot up a school. Anyway. So yes, he's got these RICO charges. Yes, I agree. Dr. Hall, this is our doctor here. Dr. Hall says there's likely a mother wound deep in all of this. Yes, that's what we were talking about earlier. I'm gonna bring it back. She looks like a madam or a pimp. Yeah, Game of Thrones shit. Ooh, child. Allegedly. Okay, we got to keep saying allegedly. Okay. That's why I have the butt banner. Shout out to Make It Make Sense. He gave me the idea of that. He puts a allegedly banner on, and I'm like, yeah, let me say allegedly. Y'all ain't suing me. He's going down. But when they had the deposition, and I don't need to go through it, there's a number of people that have already done it. But some of the things that really kind of stood out to me, 1,000 bottles of baby oil, no condoms. And we know baby oil and condoms don't go together. So but there's no condoms. Now you are someone who is engaging in so-called freak offs. I think that is actually a juvenile, stupid thing. It's an orgy, right? But maybe he's not wanting to call them orgies because that connotes a sense of consent, right? That's why we don't say child porn, because pornography is consensual, right? Child sex abuse material is what we call it, CSAM, right? It's because it's not pornography. So maybe there's something about it being a freak off that gives him that power, like he's controlling it, right? And it's not consensual. He absolutely enjoys the non-consensual aspects of this. And this is what's really getting me about these kinds of men. I think of him, I think of Darren Sharper, I think of Bill Cosby, I think of R. Kelly, I think of others. Having been in the BDSM lifestyle for 25 years now, there's one thing that I know. Oh gosh. Do I say this here? Do I? Okay. We have a lot of predators in the community. I'm not going to even bullshit you, right? But if I'm coming from a radical harm reduction point of view, I would rather they be within the kink spaces, living out so-called fantasies in scenes and play with people who are consenting and negotiating contracts and all these kinds of things, than them going out there and being violent and harming people against their consent. I know that. I know. That's a tough thing to say, but that's why y'all love me, because I say the tough things, right? And I also know, and I've written about this and I've lectured about this, that BDSM and kink can be used as a therapeutic intervention, right? Particularly with people who are survivors of sexual assault, right? You put somebody in a position where they are able to kind of confront that physical restraint and things like that, and to be able to say no and have a person immediately stop. That is a therapeutic model that we can use, like an intervention that we can use to help people in that way. And there's a lot of people exploring that, so you can go and look into that. And the reason why I'm bringing this all up is because what I see in him, yes, a corrective experience, yes. What I see in him is somebody who, and I see in the person who begins with a T and ends with an Airy, allegedly, they're acting these things out because they're in them and they don't necessarily have control over this. So they're just kind of acting on it. But here we could have we could have control situations with some really freak nasty people who would be more than willing to do this stuff, right? Instead of a freak off, you could just have an orgy. You could have an orgy with men fucking men, women fucking men, women, men and women fucking, cisgender, transgender, everybody. You could have that. And there would be people that would willingly participate in it. But that's not what people like Darren Sharper wanted, right? Remember Darren Sharper, the football player who was going around the country drugging and, sexually assaulting and raping people? You remember that, right? Very good looking man, very wealthy man, could have had any person that he wanted. But he wanted it non-consensual. But within our spaces, we have consensual non-consent. We have ways for you to play that out. I'm going to a kink function on Saturday. There's like ways that you can set this up to work through that. But you don't want that. You want the diabolical shit. You want the extremely harmful shit, because that is the only thing that kind of penetrates and starts getting to the heart of your wounds and your pain, right? If you want to understand monsters like these, you have to understand how they are created. People, y'all been throwing the word narcissist around a lot, but one thing we know about narcissism is that it is generally started by a childhood trauma of some sort, or a lack of response or an inappropriate response to a child trauma, right? Right? Am I right, Doc? I might be rusty. But see, something you said, they enjoy the power that comes with forcing people. That's it. That's it. I know I have child wounds. I know I enjoy doing certain things to certain people. And I learned how to do it in within this context of a safe space and one that could like retrain me. I'm telling you, being in kink and BDSM has helped me a lot as a survivor of sexual assault and things like that. Like I was just having this conversation the other day. It's one of the only ways I'm able to connect with my own body, right? So I'm presenting all of this. I'm presenting all of this not to make any excuses for Sean Combs, because that's not what I want to do. I just want to understand this stuff. I want us to understand where this comes from. I don't want you to think that he just popped up one day and started beating on people and sexually assaulting them, right? No, this is not coming out of nowhere. You understand? So there's other people that may be involved in this, people that may be implicated in this. I know in Dawn's stuff, she was talking about Usher and Neo. There's been a lot of conversation about Usher allegedly being exposed to this stuff when he was a teenager. There's conversations about possibly Justin Bieber allegedly being exposed to these kinds of things. There's a lot going on. And I just want you all to know, I don't think Epstein had anything on this. Now, I want you all to go to your Googles, and I want you, or if you're a Patreon subscriber, go to my Patreon and go in the search tab and search Me Too and hip hop, because I've written about this, right? I was one of the first people. Now, everybody's been talking about, oh, will hip hop have its Me Too moment now? But I wrote about this like 7 years ago. I wrote about it a very long time ago. And I said that hip hop will not have its Me Too movement. And then I updated it because, you know, I'm starting to see the stuff with Russell Simmons and stuff like that. I was like, oh, well, maybe, but I don't know. The Epstein stuff, wealthy white men, international human trafficking, they have always done this. Like since the beginning of European existence, they have trafficked people. The United States has more people being trafficked in slavery right now than it ever has at any point in history, right? The only reason why it is not a daily part of our conversations, you know, we're talking about this whole damn election and nobody's talking about human trafficking, is because they're all part of it. The police, the celebrities, the wealthy men, they're all part of it. So why would they talk about their own shit? I'm telling y'all that Epstein shit has nothing on this Diddy shit. And the reason I'm telling you this, please mark my words, and I'm going to get off the phone. I'm going to get off here because I want to get on the phone and I want a cupcake with somebody. The reason I'm telling you this is because hip hop culture and hip hop music relies on the debasement of women. It relies on it. It does not exist without it. You could debate your mama. Now, Sister Mecca, I'm not talking about you. Y'all made good music. Y'all wasn't about that life. And that's the thing. There's so many of these folks out here, you know, Diggable Planets, please go listen to them. Great artists. A lot of them are out here trying to do the right thing. But they know too. They were in this industry too. Like she said, girl, listen, I know you know. You try to do the right thing. Okay? But look at Talib. Talib's been stalking Maya for what, year 4 now? Okay? Most been dodging child support. Common is community pussy. I mean, ooh. You know, none of these things right. None of them. None of them are right. I watch people fawn over Method Man, and I have my own traumatic experience with him. And it's hard. Right? None of them are worth anything. They're all awful. And that means researchers, we need to look into what happened. Now, I said on Threads the other day, from like 1975 to 1979, we are a special breed of fucked up people. But somebody has got to study what the hell happened. Hip hop's effect on our psyche, our collective psyche. Hip hop's effect on our cultural, our shifts, on the perpetuation of misogyny, on the exacerbation of misogyny. The most righteous be the worst. That's absolutely right. Right? At some point, we're gonna have to figure out what happened. At some point, we're gonna have to figure out what happened. Mystical has been to jail for rape how many times? How many times is that man gonna go to jail for rape? And then come back out and people still hire him to perform? How many times do we log on and we hear people say that, that they're still listening to R. Kelly, they're still doing those? They don't care. At the end of the day, the people don't care. People didn't care when Drew Dixon came forward, right? They said she was lying, she's looking for money. People don't care when folks come forward and say things, right? And that's why it continues to happen. Hip hop culture relies on the debasement of women. That's how I know that once that first domino gets plucked, they're all going to come down. Russell can't move. He can't make a move. I don't even think he can leave his house at this point, right? So, yeah. I may come back and talk about this again. I appreciate you all for coming and joining me, my folks here on YouTube. It's been about even. Like I've had half the folks here on YouTube, half the folks on Instagram. I just gotta end with one thing. One thing. I told y'all so.